Good day everyone, my name is Alex and welcome back to a new review. For today we have another cheap action camera from China called the MGCOOL Explorer Pro, and I've seen this camera for as low as $39, so very cheap. So for that price you get the Allwinner V3 CPU and the Sony IMX179 Image Sensor with a field of view of 170 degrees. Now, even though this camera is advertised as a camera that can record in 4K, in reality the Allwinner V3 CPU cannot record in real 4K. Therefore, all the 4K recordings that you're gonna get from this camera are in fact 2K recordings that are interpolated to 4K recordings. Starting with a very quick unboxing, the camera comes in a plain looking box with no information on it whatsoever. Inside we are gonna find the camera and the waterproof case, and the manufacturer suggests that the waterproof case is good to up to 30 meters in the water. And I did have the case in water and there was no water going inside. Aside from that, we are going to find the user manual. The user manual is in English and it's going to show you how to use the camera. So if this is your first action camera, it could be useful. Aside from that, we are going to find some accessories and some mounts. However, not as many as we've seen for other action cameras in the past. The action camera itself looks just like all the other action cameras that we've seen from China lately, and it feels kind of cheap, but in reality it is kind of cheap. So on the front we have the lens and the power button, and that's also the mode button. On top we have the recording or the OK button and an LED. And on the left hand side we are going to find the HDMI out, the charging port, which is a micro USB charging port, and a slot for an SD card. This camera can take SD cards up to 64 gigs, and as always I use the exact same SD card that I use with pretty much all the action cameras that I try, and it did seem to work fine. The camera can also be charged while recording, and that's important because you can attach like a power bank to it and you can keep recording. And we also have a car mode in there as well, and that means that the camera will start and stop recording depending if the car is on or off. And since the microphone is also sitting on that side of the camera, we are going to check out some microphone samples. But keep in mind that we have that Allwinner V3 CPU, therefore all the sound is going to be kind of out of sync. But let's check those out. This is our first microphone test with the MGCOOL Explorer Pro. As you can probably tell, I am in the car and the windows are closed, so there shouldn't be that much noise aside from my voice. So this is how the microphone sounds. Alright, so for our second microphone test, I'm recording in 4K at 30 frames per second. I'm riding the bicycle and it is a bit windy, so you should hear some wind and my voice. So this is how the microphone sounds under these conditions. So as you've heard, not the best sound out there, but that's quite normal for that Allwinner V3 CPU. Alright, then moving back to the camera, on the right hand side we are going to find two buttons, and with one of the buttons you can actually turn on the Wi-Fi on the camera. So, since the camera can make a Wi-Fi network, you can control this with your smartphone. Of course, you're going to have to download an app on your smartphone, and the app is called the MGCOOL Explorer Pro, and you can find that in the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. And once installed and you turn on the Wi-Fi network, you can connect to the camera and you can basically see everything that the camera sees right onto your smartphone. From the app you can also change settings and you can start and stop recording, and of course you can check out and see what you've recorded with the camera in the past, and you can download all that stuff onto your smartphone. Alright, and moving back to the camera, on the back we have a 2-inch display. However, the display doesn't look that great, so the viewing angles aren't great, the brightness isn't great, so nothing about that screen it's that good. And all the way at the bottom we are going to find a 1050 mAh battery, and the battery can last for about an hour and 10 minutes recording in 4K. And now it's time to check out some daytime recordings that I've done with this camera. Now keep in mind that this camera doesn't have any type of image stabilization, therefore the footage is going to be kind of shaky. But let's check those out. So as you've seen, the daytime recordings aren't that amazing, but in the same time this is a budget action camera, therefore we can't really expect that much from it. Next we are gonna check out some nighttime recordings. And as you've seen, the nighttime recordings are kind of dark and kind of grainy, but considering the price of the camera, what could we possibly expect? Alright, the camera can also take pictures, and the pictures that you're gonna take during the daytime, well, they do kind of okay, but the pictures that you're gonna take at nighttime, once again, they are very, very grainy, and of course, the pictures that you've just seen are actually taken with this camera. Alright, and moving on to using the camera. So using the camera, it's fairly simple. We have the on-off button on the front, and that's also a mode button. So if you press that mode button once, you basically switch from video recording mode to picture taking mode. You press it one more time, you switch into slow motion mode. Press it one more time, you can check out and see whatever you have saved on the camera. And if you press it one more time, you get into the settings menu. So the settings menu doesn't have as many options as we've seen for other action cameras in the past. However, this is quite normal for that Allwinner V3 CPU. So each mode has its own settings. So the video recording mode has its own options, and there you can change the recording resolution and so on. The picture taking mode has its own settings menu in there, and you can also change like the language and a whole bunch of other stuff on the camera. But you'll just have to look and see what you actually need. So to conclude this video, for a camera that costs about $40, I mean, when you can get it for $40, I guess it's worth it. But if you have higher expectations, you're gonna have to spend more and get a better camera, because this is not the greatest out there for sure. Alright guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did like it, press that like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.